Hello, this is Tess with the second gameplay video for the Dresden Files cooperative card game app. This week we're going to have a look at the Full Moon deck, as well as Susan and the Alphas. Also, you'll get a first peek at the Showdown, which I just added this week. So let's go on into the game and get started. We're playing a solitaire game at standard difficulty with the Full Moon deck with Billy and Georgia and Susan Rodriguez. All right, so setting up the board for us real quick here. So I see one thing right off the bat. We want to get rid of the lunar cycle quickly because it prevents us from hitting some of the foes that are on the board. This one is also one we're going to want to get rid of before we do a lot of attacking foes. Unfortunately, it's pretty far out, so that's going to be tricky without Michael on the team. We have two advantages here. This one is pretty easy to grab, Saved by Tara West. It allows the active player to draw 2 cards, and we can add 2 clues to which wolf is which. Drawing cards is a big deal in this game because there aren't a lot of ways to draw. You don't get to do it every round. And Alphas to the rescue. This one's hard to pick up until you get one of your cases off the board. Actually, it can't be picked up at all until that happens. So sometimes it takes a little while to get there. And it's kind of a good reason to focus on cases early on, in addition to the things that are making foes less vulnerable. The other thing is this adds a hit to every foe on the board, which has a really excellent synergy with the Alphas, it turns out. Which kind of makes sense since this is a very wolfy sort of deck. This will also let us collect some fate on top of that. So this is a really good one, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. Alright, so what we can do right now, let's start with Harry so he can use It's Not My Fault to get rid of the lunar cycle. The lunar cycle was definitely not Harry's fault. Alright, so Harry's our starting character. It's not my fault. We're getting rid of the lunar cycle. By the way, on this dialogue right here, you can zoom just like you can off the board, which is nice. Alright, now we've got Billy and Georgia up. They're not going to be able to reach this obstacle at all. So we're not going to look at that yet. But we do want to hang on to at least one good obstacle card to take care of that. I don't know whether it will be theirs or someone else's yet. This close-in one probably isn't going to be useful this game because it would take a lot of moving to get a rest warrant up front. So let's go ahead, we're going to go ahead and discard that, but not necessarily this turn. Let's see what our other options are here. We can track scent, which can only be used if it doesn't solve the case, but it sure would put a lot of hits on who set up McFinn, and we do need to clear a case out, so that's a possible consideration. We also have some damage cards, some attack cards, but we're probably going to hold off on those because of because we are still at -1 hit for attack cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play track scent, and I'm going to hit Who Set Up McFinn with that. Nice reliable 4 points there. Okay, now it's Susan go around. She probably isn't going to use connections this game. We're not going to worry about that yet. We're a little bit low on fate at the moment, so we're not going to be able to play any of her investigate cards. And we can't play her overcome cards. And we don't really want to play Holy Water yet because it only does 1 hit, and we're still at -1 hit here. So that seems like a very bad idea. So we're going to go ahead and discard with her. I'm going to discard connections because it's not going to be realistic right now. We're going to discard that, and you get the 1 extra hit on our case up front because that's what her talent does. Alright, now let's see. We have a 2 range take advantage here, which would be handy if we could just move Saved by Tara West 1 space over. Although that will also happen when we get rid of Who Set Up McFinn. Let's see. Soul Gaze, which can hit at range 1, will do from 3 to 7 point clues for a case. That might finish this up, but we don't have enough fate for it right now, so that's not going to happen. what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to discard Fuego, which seems like a heartbreak, especially discarding this early. But we have a whole lot of other ways we're going to be doing damage to foes later on in this game. So let's go ahead and discard that and get some fate back, which will give us a little bit more flexibility with what we do. It'll also let us move one of these things closer. So let's go ahead and move this advantage closer so we can get to it sooner. And we can't hit it with pack bonding because that's only got range 1. And I think we established that Lupine Leap is probably not going to be useful here. So let's go ahead and discard Lupine Leap. Now, we'll see real quick, for Billy and Georgia, their talent is that when you discard, you get to add 1 hit to the foe at the longest range. So that's going to go ahead and hit Street Wolves over here, which will work because it's not an attack. We'll go ahead and discard this. You'll notice at the beginning of this whole game that I've reduced the number of cards that were available in Solitaire. It's following the rules now. I previously had a bug where it was drawing the correct number if you were doing a multiplayer game. But you get 1 fewer card when you're playing Solitaire because you have perfect knowledge of what's in everybody's hand, which gives you kind of an unfair advantage. Okay, what are we going to do now? We have lots of fate to play with. So we could go ahead and finish up Who Set Up McFinn. This one has a special on it. If investigation solves target, add 3 + 1 hits to any one foe. 3 + 1 dice hits to any one foe. So let's go ahead and use that one. That's pretty fun. We'll go ahead and clobber Who Set Up McFinn. We got our roll, and now we can decide on a target to take that damage. Let's go ahead and drop it on FBI Hexamolves. And now, Harry can do something fun. And we're going to go to where he could pick up, which he could pick up Saved by Tara West. Let's go ahead and do that because he doesn't have a lot of variety of cards in his hand right now. So it would actually be useful for him to draw a couple more cards just to get a little bit more of something else in here because we've only got 2 types of cards. So let's go ahead and play that. And that adds 2 points of damage to Which Wolf is Which. Yeah, let's see. This might be able to pick up arrest warrant now. Possibly. It's living a little dangerously and would use up 3 of our fate. What were our other options on that now? Let's see real quick. She's got a reliable 3 range. So let's go ahead and use Susan's for that instead. So we're going to go ahead and discard Strength in Numbers because we're not going to use it. And we're going to use Susan's Press Pass instead. There we go. And she got a special bonus on that because of her card. She has a number of those cool cards that have extra bonuses on them. Alright, now we got rid of all of our obstacles, which is great. Harry doesn't need the blue beetle anymore, so let's go ahead and discard that. And we're going to move Alphys to the rescue a little closer, which will make it cheaper for us to get. Probably going to use Harry's take advantage on that, but let me check real quick here. See, she doesn't have any. And Harry's, as you may recall, he's got Refletum, which could cost us 1, 2, 3 fate, whereas this one costs 1, but it only hits at 1 range. Harry would have to discard another card to use that, which is really going to push us out another round here. Tough call because his row attack, let me show you, his row attack at 2 clues to all cases in 1 row is not attack, but investigate. His row investigate is not going to be super useful here because we only have 1 case in each row. It's not real exciting. You're not going to get a lot of bang for your buck with that. So we may end up discarding that. In which case we would be able to move Alphys to the rescue to the front. So that's a consideration. If we're going that route, we know he's going to do a discard. We have 8 fate left. Susan's either going to do an investigate or an attack here. let's go ahead and hang on to pack bonding. And we're going to, but, ooh, if I use the, no, I'm not going to do that either. Okay, sorry, just thinking out loud here. Savage is not useful for getting out FBI Street Wolves there because it can only be used if it's not going to defeat the target foe. So you can see it doesn't actually have any valid targets right now because all the things up front would be destroyed by it. So I'm going to go ahead and discard that one and get us a whole bunch of fate back. I may have actually bottomed out our fate there. I may have actually not gotten my full 5 points. I didn't count that. I sometimes forget and end up because you've got a limited pool of fate you can recover. You don't have an infinite amount that you can grab, which is one of the additional challenges of the game. Okay, so we got a couple of one-range cases here that aren't going to be really useful. Not until these opponents are gone. So let's go ahead and I don't want to play Holy Water on the Hexen Wolves, and there's a reason for that, because I have plans for them. I have plans for them. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Street Wolves with this. I'm not going to do a discard with Harry. I'm going to do something else entirely. I'm going to use this stunt, which is Blasting Rod. That's going to do 4 hits, but it can only attack something that will be defeated by 1 to 4 hits. But the FBI Hexen Wolves with their 4 hits on them are a fantastic target for this, so we're going to go ahead and take them out. Boom. All right. Now Alpha's to the rescues up front, and we can use pack bonding for it, which is excellent. So we're going to use pack bonding. Now this is great. It's going to be fireworks. We're going to hit all the foes and collect some fate. Bam, 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 bam. And we rolled 5, result 2. Okay, not the best roll we could have had, but we didn't have a lot of room to pull back fate anyway. There's only 1 point of it we don't have at the moment, which is pretty good. Let's go ahead and, oh boy, that's a very expensive case up front. But we have a whole lot of fate right now, so let's go ahead and use that. And Refletum is not going to be useful to us at this point. Unfortunately, Harry can't use his talent anymore because we have no obstacles or advantages to move around. But it'll go ahead and pull back some fate for us that we can play with in a bit here. It doesn't hurt to have some extra fate to play around with at the end of the game. Okay, now we're going to use a stunt and hit every single foe. More fireworks. Excellent. All right. Now, are we going to play a hunch, Susan? Has Susan used her stunt yet? Nope, she hasn't. You know what, Susan? Let's use your stunt and get another card. See what my options are. Sorry about that. The video dropped out because I ran out of room on my hard drive. That was a big file. All right, we are back now, and Susan drew her additional card, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I can either take out Fight Street Wolves, or I can take out Rescue Marcone. Which one's going to be more useful at this point in time? Actually, I can't take out Rescue Marcone. I can only get up to 9 points. That's the only thing we can hit with that at the moment. And actually, we could hit a lot of things with that 22 handgun. We don't necessarily have to take out Fight Street Wolves. It might be more efficient for us to take out Escape Street Wolves instead. So let's go ahead and take that out. Except that takes 1 clue off one of our cases because of a special that's on it. So let's go ahead and take that off of, which one's closer? This is going to be 6 away, and this is going to be 5 away. So let's go ahead and take it off the one that is 6 away because it's going to be harder for us to finish that one up anyway. All right, now, Consult with Bob is just not an efficient card for us to have right now. Really what we need to do is get more stuff off our board. So we've got, oh boy, we are in trouble. I could recover some fate for the others if they had something really good to play. Nothing super exciting here. Soul Gaze could do 3 to 7 damage, which could, if it hit its maximum, if I rolled 2 pluses, it could take out Rescue Marcone. Or it could just do a lot of damage to it. Will only hit in the front row. Assault with Bob, I think I'm going to want to discard. Get back around to it. But, yeah, let's go ahead and try Soul Gaze and see how much damage we can do with it. Oh, we did 6. I almost finished up Rescue Marcone. Not quite. So now we have no fate, so we have to discard. We don't really have any choice here. And Susan can play a hunch, except she can't because there's not enough fate. So, end of story. And now it's Harry's turn again. And both of these are going to be 4 fate, and they're not, Pyro Fuego could finish off Fight Street Wolves, but 4 fate is a lot to spend on that when I really only need 1 point in the showdown. We don't have great numbers up here. Right now the game has a score of 3, and we have a score of 1. So it's going to get ugly in the showdown, folks. But I think I'm going to go ahead and discard these. And actually, because they're worth 4 fate, it's worth the other player's passing to come back around to get additional fate. So we're going to discard one of them. And that's a bug. That's not supposed to come up at this point. All right. And pass. And this gives us the little warning and tells us, hey, are you sure you want to pass? If there are other things you can do, like if your stunt hadn't been played yet, it reminds you on the screen. Also, if you have cards left, it also reminds you, because why pass if you have cards unless there's something special you're trying to line up? It's very rare. It does happen, but it's rare. It's going to cost us 1 fate to pass, which is fine in this case. We were expecting that. So we're going to go ahead and pass. Billy and Georgia pass. All right. And now it is Susan's turn. And she is going to pass as well. Pass turn. And it's now Harry's turn. And he's going to go ahead and discard Consult with Bob. And that bug again. Okay, sorry about that. It's in my bug tracker. All right, and now we can go into the showdown. And here we go. And this is just a little reminder, like, hey, this is it. All right, we're going. It's happening. Now this is cool. These are the little things from the showdown card. You can see all of your spending options here. So this guy's only 1 point from victory. We have 12 fate to play with here, which is a lot when you get to this screen, but it goes really fast. So let's see. I could spend that. That would be 4 and 5. For a 1-pointer, I'm not sure I need that much weight. So let's go ahead and do the 2-pointer for that. And this one's 5. That's gonna be a little harder to get. We'll think about that in a moment. I want a really good chance of getting Fight Street Wolves. Except, ooh, I'm gonna have to hit 3 things here to win. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Just between you and me. You'll notice when something becomes mathematically implausible, it gets blotted out here. So, like, there's not enough fate for it when I turn this on. And so that goes down to 3, and that becomes 4. So you're not going to screw up on the screen. It's protecting you from that. You'll notice this one is, the 0 fate is not available. Why is that? Because there's 3 fate, and, even 0 fate is enough for 0, right? But that 6 points. Like, even if you rolled all pluses, it's not going to give you enough to win here because you need a 7. So it's grayed out ones that aren't actually going to be useful to you, too. So let's go ahead, and we've still got 3 left. We're going to go ahead and gamble them here. Or we could do this and this. Also an option. An interesting option. Do we want to try that? 6, 7, 8. That would get us to a 10. Over here, 0, 6. If we rolled all pluses, it would get us to 11. So both of those are going to be, just as likely. Which is to say, not very. This is probably going to be a disaster. But let's go ahead and give it a shot. All right. You know what? That's a terrible idea. Let's put it there instead. All right. We're ready. And notice I've ordered these cards by the smallest gaps to the largest gaps. And if there were any you couldn't get at all, there's a little message above them to let you know why. But yeah, let's go ahead and hope for the best. And we've got, yes, success. And, ooh, yes, success again. We're up to 2-2. Yes! Holy cow, we got it. I can't believe it. Yes! I was not expecting to win. So great. That's pretty awesome. Thank you, everybody. And I'm really excited now. That was so lucky.